These are my goldfish Jimmy, Gizmo, and Tuco Salamanca. And in this video, I'm going to basically do an overview of their entire tank. So the tank setup, all the products I have in the tank, how much they cost, where you can buy them, and then how you can set it up yourself, and then just general information about the tank, like how much maintenance I do, how often I feed them, and stuff like that. First up, what kind of tank is this? This is a 60-gallon breeder tank by Aqueon. And I absolutely love these tanks for fancy goldfish because they have one of the greatest surface area to volume ratios. So there's a lot of horizontal space for them to swim around in. So I bought this tank from Petco and it was only $100. Normally they cost $200, but multiple times throughout the year, Petco will have 50% off sales on basically all their aquariums. So you can get this nice 60-gallon tank brand new for only $100. So definitely check Petco's website for whenever they have those 50% off deals and buy your tanks then. Next up are the filters. So I run this entire tank off sponge filters. I have 8 total sponge filters in here, and I got these off Amazon. These are the Aqua Neat sponge filters, and for a pack of 4 it costs $20. So I have 8 in here. I definitely did a little bit of overkill on the sponge filters, but I like to have just a ton of these guys. You can never have too many sponge filters. So in terms of sponge filters, I spent $40 on all 8 of these. Next up are the air pumps that supply the air for these sponge filters. Every sponge filter needs an air pump for it to operate. So I have 2 of these guys. These are the Paw Fly air pumps, and they're very, very quiet. For how much air they produce, they're very quiet, so I like them a lot. They're $38 each. So in both of these air pumps, that's $76 spent right there. You'll also need to buy some airline tubing to connect the air pump to the 4 sponge filters. So each of these air pumps basically goes to 4 sponge filters. They come with a 4 outlet splitter. So connect the airline tubing from the base of the pump to the splitter, then connect 4 airline tubings from the splitter to your 4 sponge filters. And in my case, I just did this twice, so I have 8. I also have a 300-watt heater in this tank, and I heat the tank to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Now you hear a lot of people say, oh wait, goldfish are cold water fish, you don't need a heater. Yeah, maybe the original, common goldfish you could get away with no heater and they'll be fine. They're a little more hardy. But these fancy varieties, especially these ones from Thailand, they like warm water. So it's recommended to keep these in the higher 70s or low 80s. That's what they prefer. This heater was also from Amazon. It costed me $26. Next up is the famous black sand. So I have this sand in a lot of my videos of my goldfish slurping up peas, and they sift through the sand to try to get the pea. And people are always asking, what kind of sand is that? This is a Magitarium black sand. So you can buy this at Petco. So when you buy your tank, you can also buy your Magitarium black sand at Petco as well. Make sure you rinse this thoroughly before putting it in your tank. I got one 20-pound bag, and that is plenty for this entire 60-gallon tank. I love having sand in goldfish tanks because it gives them something to sift around through the entire day, and there's not going to be a risk of them choking on it. And actually, the sand being such fine little particles, it's harder for crap to get stuck between it, like it easily gets stuck in larger rocks and gravel. Next up are the plants you see on the top of the aquarium. These are Pothos. These are the only plants that I've had really good success with keeping with my goldfish, and they grow like crazy. They suck all the nitrates out. I highly, highly recommend growing them. They need barely any light to grow well, and they're very, very hardy. They'll survive a big range of conditions. It's almost hard to not be successful in growing these in your tank. The way I have them up there is I just have 2 of these garden stakes, and I just squeeze them together and squeeze the plants between them, and then I tied the ends of them. So I probably spent $20 on all the Pothos. I bought them from Home Depot, and then I think it was like $5 per garden stake, or maybe $3 per garden stake. I bought them from Home Depot as well. So you can buy all those things at Home Depot. Super easy to put together, and they look beautiful. Last but not least, we have this grow light that I got from Amazon a long time ago. Now, unfortunately, when I was looking back through my Amazon orders to find out what light this was, it looks like they don't sell it there anymore. So I actually don't know if they even make this light anymore. But there are plenty of other options. They range anywhere from maybe $50 to several $100s. But the thing is, you don't even need a grow light. You could honestly get away with any kind of light. The Pothos grow very well in low light conditions, so they don't need some powerful, strong grow light. You can get away with any light, just enough to illuminate the tank to see your fish. I probably don't even need this light here considering I'm right next to a window, but I do like the way it looks. And also considering the fact you have 1 heater, 2 air pumps, and 1 grow light, you're probably going to want to have a power strip to connect all these things to. And you can get this from Amazon for only $7.50. Now I think it's time to give a proper introduction to the 3 goldfish I have in this tank. We got Jimmy, Gizmo, and Tuco Salamanca. So let's start with little Jimmy. So all 3 of these guys I got from Jimmy Goldfish. He sent them to me. He sent them to me for free, and I made an unboxing video. So to thank Jimmy, I named this first guy right here. I named him Jimmy after Jimmy Goldfish. So again, thank you, Jimmy Goldfish. Everybody go check him out. So he, along with his 2 other friends, is a Yuan Bao. So he has a tiger coloration. Out of the 3 of them, he's definitely the slowest. He's probably the chonkiest of the 3. Definitely just a very fat dude, but he's definitely the slowest, but he's very friendly. He's got a great personality, and I absolutely love him. Now let's go on to Gizmo. So how did Gizmo get his name? So I actually posted a video saying, hey, like, to all my followers, everyone give me a name recommendation for this fish. I don't know what to name this fish. So I just looked through my comments section. I saw so many good ones. One of the name recommendations I thought was funny was Tuco Salamanca. Another one I thought was funny was Gizmo. So I asked my followers, I said, hey, okay guys, I'm torn between these 2 names. You guys gave me a lot of good recommendations. Should I go with Tuco or should I go with Gizmo? And a majority of the comments said Gizmo, but a lot of them still wanted Tuco. So I said, you know what? I will name this one Gizmo because that's what the people want. But this 3rd fella here that hasn't been named yet, he will be Tuco Salamanca. So that's how all 3 of these guys got their names. Jimmy from Jimmy Goldfish, Gizmo from my followers, and also Tuco Salamanca from my followers. And I'm a big Breaking Bad fan. That show is a masterpiece of a show. I would say that Tuco's probably the fastest of these 3 guys. He's also the biggest, so he definitely gets to the food first. But Gizmo comes at a close second. Sometimes when it comes between Gizmo and Tuco during pea feeding time, Gizmo will beat him a couple times here and there. But these guys are both very active, always swimming around, always super happy. So these Yuan Baos are honestly, they're really, really wonderful fish. They're so entertaining to just watch them just swim and jiggle back and forth, jiggle all around the whole tank. Highly recommend. Okay, and as for maintenance, what kind of maintenance does a tank like this require? So obviously you do have to feed the goldfish. I think if you feed them 2 times a day, that'll be great. I'm not going to go fully into detail on like what kinds of food to feed them. That's more of a topic for a different video, but 2 feedings a day, that'll be good for them. And in terms of cleaning the tank, right now, like a tank like this, I just set it up, but it's basically requiring about 1 water change per week. But my goal is to get these pothos to grow big enough that I virtually have to do no water changes. Now I will still have to top off the water, and I will have to change out the water maybe every month and a half or so to replenish nutrients, but I'm hoping that I can get these plants big enough that they suck up all the nitrates and the phosphates and to keep that water pristine without the need for water changes. Now, will I be able to obtain that? I don't know, but I will keep you guys updated, and I will be testing the nitrate level over time and seeing algae growth over time to get a sense of if the plants are able to keep up with the bioload. Right now, they're definitely too small to do that, but in the future, that might change. Now, as for cleaning the sand and for cleaning the sponge filters, I honestly don't do it that often, and I found my water has been perfectly fine with only doing it maybe once every month and a half. Sometimes I've gone even longer. But as long as the sponges can still pick up more particulates out of the water, I found that the water quality maintains pretty well. So maybe every month and a half or so, I might take half these sponge filters out and squeeze them in a bunch of tank water in a bucket and then put them back in. I won't do that to all of them at once. I'll only do them half at a time. And then as for the sand, I sometimes use a gravel vac to kind of sift through the sand, but other times I honestly just disturb the sand, get a bunch of that crap up into the water, and then I do a nearly complete water change, and that gets a lot of that stuff just out of there, out of the settled sand, into the water column, and then you just change it out. So that's about all I think there is to say about this tank. I will be linking all the products I can in the description below, so if you want to check out any of these products, go check it out right there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and also if you'd like to support this channel and help me in my mission to get this property, which originally was a fishery, up and running as a fishery again, please consider becoming a channel member. It goes a long way. And yeah, and don't forget to check out our merch. Luke's Goldies out.